Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and finish up the fuselage body. What we're going to do here is we're going to definitely use 30-minute epoxy, because you need time here. This is a delicate process. The foam is still kind of, soft and fragile, as you can see, until we finish this final main fuselage body gluing here. When we start pushing it into the slots and stuff, you got to be real careful. So you need to take your time. So you're going to need a long cure. So I would say about a shot glass worth of glue here, maybe a little less. We don't need that much. Mix that up. Now this is the tricky part. Do this, okay? I've tried every other angle. There's really no other way of doing this and get a proper fit, because you want everything to be nice and true and square. So what you're going to do first is, back part's very easy because you can reach this pretty easily. Okay, so you're going to fill your little reservoirs. Let me see if I can get this on camera for you. I'll do it this way so you can see how I'm doing this. Okay. Watch your drips. You don't want to be dripping all over the place. Okay. Fill in all you see, just like that. You get a drip like that, you wipe it off with your finger, or scrape it off with a scrap piece of foam if you don't want to touch the epoxy with your fingers. Okay. Now, some people like to glue in between the recess points here. I don't do it just yet, and you'll see why when we get ready to tie this up. I have a better way of doing this, and it looks much better. And it might actually be one time when, if you wanted to, you could use hot glue. Here's the tricky part, getting the front part of these recesses in. You want to make sure you get enough glue in there. Now in under here, you don't really have to worry about drips and stuff, because you're really not going to see them. So, if you drip some glue in there, don't worry about it. Definitely get yourself enough glue in these recesses. That's really, really important for a strong build. Trust me, this is the hardest one to do right here, this process. After this, it's all downhill. And before you know it, you're going to have a completed fuselage. And you're definitely going to have the prettiest airplane at the field. Okay. Now we still have some glue in there, and you'll see why. Now this part has to be done very carefully. Okay? This is why we want to use the 30-minute epoxy. We are going to gently squeeze these pieces, these tabs, into the recesses. Okay? Just like that. Gently. Don't want to roughhouse this, because you might damage the foam. You don't want to damage the foam. Okay? If you have to, it's not cooperating here, you can kind of use a screwdriver. Just tuck in these tabs. And that'll work for that side, and we're going to do the same for this side. Very gently. Kind of manipulate the foam. Don't be too rough down. Okay. This is where the dry fitting came in. Why you want to make sure your dry fit right on the money. So otherwise, at this point you would have a real hard time getting this to go in. Okay. Now, extra glue. Okay, what we're going to do is, we're just going to put a little bead of glue in here. Now you can use hot glue for this part if you want. I prefer to use epoxy. I'm just a fan of it. It's much stronger. This here joint right here is going to be the strongest part of the airplane. I'll tell you that. You won't be disappointed if you use epoxy. You could have a real horrible crash. The rest of the foam will fall apart on you. These joints will not give way. They will stay rock solid. Okay, and it kind of fills that in there. In the event you've got a gap, it'll get filled in. So I see if you were using a 6-minute right now, you'd be in trouble, because we're probably around 5 minutes now. We'd already have this glue gelling up on us. Try not to get the glue inside this area, because this is where your servo goes. If you have glue sitting in there, you'll have to cut it out when you go to install your servo, and it just makes things difficult. And glue is this glue, epoxy glue, is very, very difficult to get off that foam. In all likelihood, you would probably damage the foam. You don't want to do that. So like I said, once this glues together, it does not want to let go. I made a shot glass worth of glue and I'm almost used it all up. Just made enough. See, that takes a little bit of experience, building experience. You build a few of these, and once you fly this, I'm almost positive you will be looking to make more. It's just a wonderful airplane. Okay, you let that set, get hard, and then we'll move on to the next part.